Alright, what's up guys? In today's video, we will be discussing the easiest way to stay lean after getting ripped. Alright, so let's dive in. And before we start, we'll answer one question. Why most people don't stay lean after getting ripped? Okay, most people don't stay lean after getting ripped for a couple of reasons, but primarily because it's pretty difficult, okay? So you spend 3-4 months eating in a deficit, eating healthy, eating clean, and then eventually you'll start wanting to eat unhealthy foods again. But what happens is um, people eat more foods than their maintenance calories, or they'll eat more calories than their maintenance calories as a consequence of eating out, as a consequence of eating poorly, and they'll start to gain more weight. Okay, and so what happens is um, they don't stay lean. And so what you want to do is once you get lean, you want to eat at or like slightly below or slightly above your maintenance calories, plus or minus like 150. Okay, that way you'll always stay lean. All right. Now the easiest way to stay lean after getting ripped is by lifting and consistent cardio. Okay, if you lift and do consistent cardio, you will stay lean year round, because if you lift and do consistent cardio, you can effectively eat whatever you want. Take me for example. I've been bodybuilding for 8 years. I've been running for 15 years. I've been bodybuilding and running and cycling concurrently for the past 8 years, and my maintenance calories on any given day are about 4,600 calories a day. Okay, that's a lot of food. All right, and it's hard to eat that much oftentimes. And some days my maintenance calories are as high as 6,500 calories. But anyways, that's because I lift 6 days a week and I do cardio 6 to 7 days a week. Okay, so in terms of what cardio to do to stay lean, the best form of cardio is the one you enjoy the most. Okay, so like I said, growing up, I was a runner, I was a cyclist, and so I love running and cycling. And so I do running and cycling. I don't necessarily do running and cycling just so I can stay lean. I do running and cycling because I love running and cycling. Okay, the added bonus is just that I love running and cycling. So like if you love swimming, swim. If you love stairmaster, stairmaster. If you love walking, walk. Okay, but if you want to do what you enjoy the most, because this is a lifestyle, right? You want to stay lean. You want to be as big as possible and as lean as possible for the rest of your life. I'm 20. I'll be 29 this month. Okay, so I've been doing this. I've been running for 15 years, and I've been bodybuilding for 8 years. Okay, so you want to do something. You want to do this for the rest of your life. So the cardio you do is the one you enjoy the most. Okay, if it's not running, that's fine. But running is very beneficial because it's the most time efficient. Now, what does that mean? It means you burn the most calories per mile. Okay, so like I weigh 100, I weigh 180, pretty much 12% body fat, 11% body fat, whatever, and I burn about 140 calories running per mile. And for me, an easy run is about 8 minutes. Okay, so I can run 8 minutes for a very long time, for like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours easily. Okay, I don't do that, but I could. Um, all right, so I burn 140 calories per mile. That means in a 10-mile run, and for me, a 10-mile run is normal, right? When I'm running 60, 70 miles a week, I can burn 1,400 calories. All right, so if I'm burning 1,400 calories and I'm burning 450 calories in the gym or so, I'm burning 1,850 calories just from lifting and running, and that's not taking into account walking. That's not taking into account cycling. So I can effectively eat whatever I want that day. Okay, so that's why I say running is very good cardio. And if you suck at, I sucked at running when I first started. When I first started running when I was 13 years old, I couldn't run a quarter of a mile. Okay, but I increased slowly and eventually got good over time. And I found out that I had a talent for it. So if you suck at running now, you might be talented. It just takes time. Okay. Now there is one con of running. That's you can get injured easily, especially if you're new. Okay, so if you try to do too much mileage too soon, you are at risk for injury. All right, so let's say you're brand new to running, you go run 20 miles. You might be able to run 20 miles a week for a while, maybe even 30 miles a week for a while, but because you're running so much at once, you're at risk for injury because your muscles aren't used to it. So if you do running, you want to build miles slowly over time. Okay, all right, right? Like hell, if you just run 3 miles every day, which is 21 miles a week, and lift weights, you'll still be able to eat like more food than the normal person because you're burning more calories. All right. Now there's also cycling. I love cycling. I'm a cyclist. I can't run right now, so I'm doing a lot of cycling. Cycling is beneficial because it allows you to go longer, right? So cycling has substantially less of an impact on your joints and tendons, and running does. You can go for much longer. Um, it does burn fewer calories with respect to time. For example, if you run an hour and you cycle an hour, you're gonna burn a lot more calories running an hour, but you can still burn a lot of calories cycling an hour. For example, when I do like a zone 2 aerobic ride for an hour, which is pretty much zone 2 is pretty much a pace I can hold for a very, very long time. I burn about anywhere from 5 to 700 calories per hour. We'll say 600 calories per hour, right? As opposed to maybe burning 8 or 900 in an hour running, but it's still pretty good. You're also less injury prone when you cycle because there's less of an impact. There's still an impact, but it's substantially smaller. So cycling is beneficial too, and you can mix and match. You can run and cycle. You can run one day, cycle the next, but just do. Of course, if you don't like cycling, if you don't like running, don't do it. But cycling is very beneficial. And what's also very beneficial about cycling, you can get the heart rate really high. A lot of people who don't know what they're talking about say you can. One of the problems with cycling is that it's hard to get your heart rate high. If you can't get your heart rate high when you're cycling, you're not cycling at a higher enough power. Okay, that's all you have to do to get your heart rate higher. Increase the power. So if you're outside, ride in the lower gear. If you're indoors on a trainer, if you assuming you don't have a road bike, you're at a gym, just turn the dial up to where there's more resistance, and you'll see more power on the power meter. If you want to get a higher heart rate, just turn the power up. That's all you have to do. Okay. And lastly, we have walking. Okay. Now walking is very good. Walking is extremely underrated. All right. Now walking is great because walking and running, you burn the same amount of calories walking per mile as you do running per mile. The only difference is you can run a lot faster than you walk. So, for example, my easy runs are like 8 minutes per mile. And whenever I walk about 20 minutes per mile. And 20 minutes per mile walking is pretty universal for everyone. So, I mean, that's the thing though. Like in 20 minutes, I could run 2.5 miles and burn 2.5 times as many calories. But in 20 minutes, I can burn, the same amount of calories as I would running 8 minutes. Okay. But if you can't run or cycle, that's fine. You can walk. Walking is very, very beneficial. It's low impact, so it's safer on your joints and tendons. Of course, there is some impact, so your tendons and joints in your foot and your legs might have to get used to it, especially if you go from walking very little to walking much. So just be careful. Make sure you build up slowly. All right. And like I said, it burns the same amount of calories per mile as running, which is why it's great. Okay. But yeah, it just takes a lot longer, right? So walking for an hour, right? Like I could do I could run 7.5 miles in an hour at 8 minutes per mile, right? Which would burn 700 or 980 calories approximately. Whereas, walking 3 miles in an hour, I would burn 420 calories, right? Okay. So again, I'm burning 2.5 times as many calories running as I am walking, but the only thing is, you know, um, it takes time to build up to where you can run that much, all right, safely without getting injured. It takes a lot of time, unless you have good genetics and you're super talented, where your body can just handle it, all right? So don't sleep on walking. I walk a ton. Like today, I cycled for an hour and 10 minutes, and I walked 2 miles, okay, which is good cardio, all right? So, anyways, the easiest way to get lean after getting ripped is by lifting and doing cardio, all right? And again, this is a lifestyle. This is a way of life. There's tons of benefits to cardio other than staying lean. Um, your heart health. It makes you live longer, it makes you feel better. Doing cardio is amazing. I love cardio because of how it makes you feel. I feel like there's nothing better than completing a hard um, workout on the bike or running because of I just love training at a super high heart rate because how good it feels, how rewarding it is. It's super difficult, but it's worth it. All right, and being able to stay lean and burn more calories is just an extra benefit. And so pretty much, basically, what I'm saying is, you can eat more bad food if you do lots of cardio because your maintenance calories are so much higher. I'm not saying you have to eat poorly every single day, and I would highly recommend you not do that for health reasons. But if you want to eat, some garbage 3 times a week, 4 times a week, whatever, you can. Hell, you can even technically eat garbage every single day if you're burning enough calories. Um, but anyways, that's all I've got for you guys today. If y'all are interested in offer coaching, the link's in the bio. How to become a hybrid, how to bodybuild and run concurrently, all that good stuff. If you're interested, the link's in the bio. And if y'all like this video, leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.